Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom, I'm David Mencer, Israeli government spokesman for the National Public Diplomacy Directorate here in the office of the Prime Minister. Questions in the chat, please, which we will take after a very quick update from me. It's Monday, the 30th of September, day 360 of the October 7th war. Israel's goals in this war remain crystal clear. They are bringing home our hostages, 101 people, men, they are children, they are women, they are the elderly. Let them go now. To dismantle Hamas's capabilities and to enable all Israelis in the north and the south to return home in safety and security. On Yemen, firstly, defending ourselves against the Iranian-directed Houthis in Yemen. As you know, Israel was attacked over the weekend by powerful Houthi ballistic missiles. Yesterday, dozens of Israeli Air Force aircraft set out 2,000 kilometers away. Fighter jets and refueling aircraft to strike Houthi terrorist targets in Ras Isa and Hudaydah in Yemen, including power plants, a seaport that are used by Houthis to import oil for military purposes sent by Iran. All of our pilots, thankfully, and aircraft returned home safely to their bases. Israel is strong and we are ready. We were caught off guard on October 7th, but the enemies of Israel should know now, not anymore. In Lebanon, with the successful targeting of arch killer Nasrallah deep underground in his bunker. And likewise in Yemen at a distance of almost 2,000 kilometers. This is a multi-arena war. For a year now, since October 7th, we have faced Iran on 7 different fronts. So whether it's defense or offense, there is nowhere that Israel will not reach in defense of this country. There is nowhere that Israel will not reach in defense of this country. Until when? For as long as we are attacked. Israel is in essence a peaceful nation. We will always put our first hand out in peace to our neighbors and to the region. But Israel will not stop until our war goals have been achieved. Next, an update from Govt and their work coordinating aid into Gaza. Since the beginning of the war, 54,000 truckloads and 10,000 pallets have delivered 1,060,000 tons of aid. 70% has been food. That's 3,000 calories per person, which enters Gaza every single day, according to independent analysis. And currently the contents of around 500 trucks are awaiting to be collected on the Gazan side of Kerem Shalom by the thoroughly inefficient United Nations. You can get all the details of Israel's humanitarian efforts on Govt's website. So that's the end of our quick briefing this today. I'll now take your questions. Please put them in the chat together with your news outlet. Okay, first question here is from David Clement at the News Forum in Canada. Can you provide any comment or additional information about the death of Fatah Sharif Abu Alamin in Lebanon? Thank you for that question, David. Let me share what the information I have with me right now. You can get more from the IDF's Telegram feed, where they have all the latest information there. But let me tell you who this was. Just yesterday, the IDF targeted the Hamas leader in Lebanon. He was a Hamas leader in Lebanon, Faith Sharif. He was a terrorist principal and the head also of UNRWA's Teacher Association in Lebanon. So a terrorist and also an UNRWA teacher. He was eliminated in an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon yesterday. So we say loudly and clearly to UNRWA and to its head, Philip Lazzarini, what on earth is a terrorist doing as one of your teachers? Now, we've documented very widely now the crimes of UNRWA, the fact that they are a front for Hamas. This is another example of UNRWA officials actually being terrorists as well, this time a teacher. Next question is from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. Firstly, the J Street Group in the US is backing a bill in Congress to restore UNRWA funding to UNRWA, saying that it can be reformed. Does Israel have any comment on that legislation? Firstly, Joel, thank you for that question. All of us saw here that you recently gave birth, you and your to a boy, so we wish you, of course, Mazel Tov on that. Congratulations. In answer to your question regarding UNRWA, no, UNRWA cannot be reformed. It is not just the case of a few rotten apples, it is a whole rotten orchard. Unfortunately, the root and branch reform that will be needed to reform UNRWA is wildly optimistic. It simply isn't possible. We believe that UNRWA is part of the problem. We've listed the crimes of UNRWA on the 5th and the 6th of August. We finally saw some stunning admissions hidden in the last lines of an anonymous press release. The fact that UNRWA staff actually took part in the October 7th massacre. We know that their schools are used by Hamas. We know that their server farm actually sat underneath the UNRWA headquarters. This was passed off by Lazzarini as being, oh, well, there are tunnels anywhere. No, there was a Hamas server farm, a computer server farm, a data farm underneath UNRWA's headquarters. It is simply impossible to reform this organization. Yes, of course, there needs to be a proper oversight to ensure that aid gets to Gazans who need it to build a better future after this war. That is absolutely needed. Yes, of course, and Israel will back that. Any genuine efforts to support Gazans people. But UNRWA, unfortunately, is a front for Hamas. Their leaders constantly turn a blind eye to terror. They don't even call Hamas a terrorist organization. It's as bad as that. No, we don't believe that UNRWA can be reformed. Second, former White House advisor Jared Kushner suggested this week that with Hezbollah in trouble, Iran's nuclear program is defenseless. Would Israel take this opportunity to attack Iran's nuclear program? Well, Joel, thank you for that opportunity to share our plans regarding Iran, or whatever we have planned for Iran. Let me share with you our current thoughts about Iran. We know that the Iranian axis of evil has formed a stranglehold against this country. It's a ring of armed terror armies. It's Hezbollah in Lebanon, it's Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, and other militias. Now, we are on extremely high alert, defensively and offensively. And we are exacting a heavy price for this Iranian aggression against us from whatever arena. Our government is mandated to defend this country, and that is precisely what we are doing. That is what every decent government, any responsible government around the world would do in our position. We live in an extremely dangerous neighborhood. We've had 60 to 70,000 of our people evacuated from their homes, evicted from their own homes, from sovereign Israeli territory. Our mission is extremely clear. It is not controversial. Those people need to be allowed to return home to their own homes in northern Israel. Those children need to be allowed to return to the schools where they've been evicted from for a year now. And our people need to be able to return to their businesses and their livelihoods in our own sovereign territory. This is the very basic element of any government's responsibility to its people, to defend our people. That is precisely what we were doing. Near or far, Israel's capabilities, Israel's military capabilities are formidable. Israel is strong, and we will defend ourselves. Okay, next question is from Mark Weiss from Khan Radio here in Israel. When was the last sign of life from Yahya Sinwar? Thank you for that question, Mark. I haven't got any particular information on that point. Sinwar is an evil terrorist behind the October 7th massacre. No doubt he is looking around at other evil terrorists like Nasrallah right now, and the message will be extremely clear. We believe that the action against Nasrallah will have put pressure on Hamas to make that deal to release our hostages. Remember, the war would be over in Gaza immediately if Hamas released our hostages immediately. 101 people, let them go now, and laid down its arms. We have already shattered almost all of Hamas's fighting battalions. Sinwar should know what will happen to him if he continues in the way which he is doing. This country has a responsibility to defend itself. Our war aims are very, very clear: to destroy Hamas, its military and governing capabilities. We have shattered the Hamas as a military force, and we will achieve all of our war aims.